What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're excited. We're talking to you about Raleigh and Wilmington. All right, so this video is for you if you're thinking about moving to the Raleigh area here in North Carolina, or maybe you're thinking about moving to the Wilmington area in North Carolina. There's a lot to do there. There's a lot of beaches there. So we're gonna be talking about the main differences of Raleigh and Wilmington and which one may be the right fit for you. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so I have to be honest, besides Raleigh, Wilmington is probably one of my favorite places in North Carolina. So this is gonna be an interesting video for me, but this is all about you and which one is right for you. But luckily, I love both places a ton and am happy to talk to you about both. So let's understand Raleigh and Wilmington and some of the differences and what might make the most sense for you as you consider a move to either the Triangle area in Raleigh or to Wilmington. All right, so let's go location first. Wilmington is obviously located at the beach. That's right, Wilmington is located on the coast of North Carolina. It's kind of the southeast portion of the coast. You're about 45 minutes away from South Carolina when you're in Wilmington. So you're really close to the southern part of the state. And there's a lot of surrounding areas in Wilmington, places like Leland or Brunswick County or Hempstead. So there's a lot of places around the Wilmington area, just like there in Raleigh. So you may not only consider a move to Wilmington. We see a lot of people from moving up north move to the Leland area, so maybe that's an area you're considering. But overall, we're talking about Wilmington, and again, that's at the beach, and you're about 2 hours away from Raleigh. So Raleigh is located in the middle of the state, in the Piedmont. So Raleigh, again, 2 hours from the coast and about 2.5, 3 hours to the closest mountains. So again, Raleigh is truly in the middle of the state. Whereas Wilmington, again, that southeast portion of the state. So if you wanted to get from Wilmington all the way to Blowing Rock or Boone, let's say up in the mountains of North Carolina, you're looking at about a 5 to 6 hour drive. So that's a tough drive if you want to be able to explore both the mountains and the beach, right? So Raleigh may be the best location for you if you want to have access to both, because again, you can get from Raleigh to the mountains in about 2.5, 3 hours, or to the coast in 2 hours. And when I say you can get to Wilmington from Raleigh in 2 hours, I actually mean it. You can literally, and my family does it a lot, you can get from door to door in about an hour and 45 minutes. Now, a lot of that may have to do with my wife's driving. I'm joking.
You're in trouble, aren't you, son?
But it is an easy ride. To get to Wilmington from Raleigh, you're gonna take I-40, which is the major interstate in North Carolina. Once you get through Johnston County on your way to Wilmington, it's honestly one of the easiest drives in our state to be able to do if you're on a trip. So if you wanna have easy access to the beach and the mountains, again, Raleigh may be the right decision for you. But if you want to be at the beach, of course, you can't get closer than Wilmington. Wilmington is as close as you can get to the beach, so maybe that's the right decision for you. Either way, if you live in Raleigh and want to get to the coast, it's a quick and easy trip, and it's a very painless drive. All right, let's move on to population. So Wilmington is definitely growing, but it is significantly smaller than Raleigh right now. Wilmington has a population of just over 120,000 people. Again, that number is growing, but 120,000 people in Wilmington compared to Raleigh's over 467,000 people. So we're talking about a 300,000 plus difference. That doesn't even take into account the differences in their surrounding areas, right? So in Wake County, we have over 1 million people. And again, Raleigh is where Wake County is located. Versus New Hanover County, where Wilmington is located, the total population is 234,000 people. So you've got about 110,000 people living outside of Wilmington and surrounding areas in New Hanover County. So we're talking about a 900,000 to 1 million person difference between the two counties. And again, just in Raleigh and Wilmington, you have about a 300,000 person difference. So if you're thinking that you want big city life, well, obviously you can understand that Raleigh's probably going to be the better fit for that. But maybe you want a slower pace of life where there's less people and less congestion. maybe Wilmington's the place for that. Wilmington's the largest beach community in North Carolina. Take, for example, Ocracoke, which is out on the outer banks of North Carolina. Cool place to visit, but the total population is 715 people. So 120 some odd thousand people versus 715 people is quite a difference. All right, so next let's talk about traffic. So Raleigh, we've talked about, it's a joke here. Everything takes 15 to 20 minutes to get somewhere, unless of course you're coming from Holly Springs to Raleigh. But if you are in Raleigh and you're going to somewhere else in Raleigh, you can expect that that drive is going to take you 15 to 20 minutes for the most part. It's been an ongoing joke in Raleigh, and honestly, even as we've had more and more people move in and the city has continued to grow, that fact remains true. In fact, due to working from home on some Fridays, you can actually get places even quicker than that. Or for example, Memorial Day weekend, when everyone in Raleigh goes to Wilmington, you can actually get around Raleigh super easy. But on a normal work day, most places are going to take you 15 to 20 minutes to get there. You can expect moderate to heavy traffic during rush hours, just like you would anywhere else. Overall, Raleigh is decently prepared for the growth that we've had. I'm not going to say that they're well prepared because there's still some roads that could use some work, and we still have heavy traffic in a lot of the most popular areas of town. But I personally do think that Raleigh is better prepared for the traffic that they have gained than Wilmington is. Wilmington saw a ton of population growth through COVID. Everybody decided that they wanted to live at the beach, and when they moved to the beach, Wilmington just wasn't quite ready for it. So getting to places in Wilmington can take a while, sometimes 20, 30 minutes, depending upon where you're going. Sometimes on the off season, sometime in the winter, of course, it can take less. On a recent trip down to Wilmington, trying to get to the beach, luckily my family gets there early because of little ones, but there was about a 2-mile long traffic jam just to try to park at the beach. That's how popular Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach have become. Honestly, before I would consider living on the island of Wrightsville Beach, I would consider the traffic. Just think about that. If you were thinking that you needed to run to the grocery store one day, well, you better not do it on a Saturday morning because you're going to be competing with everyone trying to get to the beach. All right, so let's move on and talk about sports and things to do in and around Raleigh and Wilmington. All right, so sports. All right, first talk about sports in Raleigh. We've talked about it before, but Raleigh has the Carolina Hurricanes, which play in the National Hockey League. Those are really fun games to attend if you're in the Raleigh area. They always sell out. The arena is really, really loud. It's just a really fun activity to do. So if you see the Hurricanes schedule come out for next season, definitely try to grab a ticket or two and get out to one of those games. Raleigh also has access to the Durham Bulls, which is a minor league baseball team. It's one of the best minor league stadiums in the entire country. It's easy to get in and out of the stadium. There's a ton of stuff for the kids to do at Durham Bulls Stadium. It's just a lot of fun to go to a Bulls game as well. And then, of course, in Raleigh, we have major college sports. So if you move to the Raleigh area, you have to pick either NC State, Duke, or Carolina. Those are the three major schools nearby. Those are the three major competitors in our area, and none of them like each other. Now, I highly suggest choosing NC State. I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to win everything by choosing them, but you will have fun in choosing NC State. Wilmington doesn't exactly have the sports scene that Raleigh does. So Wilmington has UNC Wilmington, which is a Division I school. They do have great athletic events to attend, just on a much smaller scale. They don't play in the same league as NC State, Duke, and Carolina do. They play in a lower level, so they're not playing the same teams, but they are really fun games to attend. UNCW basketball was really good this past year. Their baseball team is always really good. So you do have those options to choose from. Wilmington also has some baseball in the summer for college players to come play in and around the area. So those games can be fun to attend. But really, as far as sporting events, that's all you can choose from in the Wilmington area. All right, now let's talk about things to do in Raleigh and Wilmington. In Raleigh, of course, you can go see the Hurricanes or any of the sporting events that we just talked about, but maybe you want to go see a concert. PNC Arena, where the Hurricanes play, hosts major concerts. So does Coastal Federal Credit. Or you can go to Coastal Federal Credit Union at Walnut Creek. Again, for us locals, it's just Walnut Creek. But those are some major arenas that have awesome concerts. But quite frankly, my favorite place to see a concert in Raleigh is at Red Hat Amphitheater. You're in the heart of the city. You've got these tall buildings surrounding you and you're down below, and it's an outdoor venue. Man, if you can catch a summer show there where it's a cool evening, those are some of the best concerts to attend in Raleigh. And they do get big musicians to Red Hat. So definitely check out Red Hat's schedule to see if there's an opportunity for you to check something out there. Now in Wilmington, they do get some big events there as well, but honestly, I think they have one of the coolest venues on the East Coast to go see a show. It's called Greenfield Lake Park, and it's this beautiful park that sits on a lake near downtown Wilmington, and it's a really kind of intimate venue. Probably 1,000 to 1,500 people can see a show there. I recently saw an artist there, and it was one of my favorite shows that I've seen of all time. So definitely check that out. They also do have concerts, especially in the summer in downtown Wilmington. They'll shut streets down, and they also recently built a new outdoor venue on the marina in downtown Wilmington where they have big artists there. For example, I know they had like Dave Matthews there last year. So there's still an opportunity to see some big artists in the Wilmington area. And I would say if you're looking for something to do for July 4th, Wilmington is the place to be. Wilmington attracts a ton of people, obviously coming to the beach, but downtown Wilmington does a great job for July 4th, and they have a ton of different concerts and events going on, so that can be really fun. All right, so in Raleigh, maybe you're going to see a concert or going to a sporting event, but one of the things that these towns do share their love for is drinking beer. Both towns have a ton of breweries, some of the best breweries in the state, and it's actually a thing to do when you are in one of these towns. People hear that and they're kind of like, wait, I take my kids to a brewery? But these breweries actually build themselves to allow kids to come. They have activities for kids to do, and it's something that people in our town and in Wilmington take advantage of. You can get out, grab a beer with friends, and let your kids play. And for the most part, everybody can stay really safe and have a lot of fun in doing so. So I would say if we're deciding who's got more to do, it's probably going to be Raleigh that has more to do. But the one thing Raleigh doesn't have that Wilmington does have is, of course, the beach. So obviously going to the beach is something that you can do in Wilmington and do really easily. Boating, of course, it's easy to drop a boat in water versus in Raleigh. Maybe you're driving to a lake or driving to Wilmington to put your boat in. So if you're thinking about wanting to be on the water more often, obviously Wilmington's going to be the place to be because of the access to the beach. I will also say both towns are very active, but if you live in Wilmington, you will see that people love to exercise in the Wilmington area. I don't know if it's the beach air or maybe it's the weather there, but everybody in Wilmington loves to exercise and stay in shape, go for walks, go for bike rides. So if you're into exercise and staying in shape and that kind of thing, Wilmington definitely has a great scene for that as well. But of course, Raleigh does have an awesome greenway system, so you can basically get from all parts of Raleigh on this greenway system, staying super safe and seeing some really cool attractions on the way. All right, so let's move on to the weather. Obviously, they're similar climates. We're only 2 hours apart, but there are some differences. If you want 4 seasons, truly 4 seasons, Raleigh has that to offer. Now look, we get as hot as we can possibly get. Typically in July and August, you're gonna find us over 100 degrees in the summer. Then in the wintertime, we're gonna average somewhere in the 50s, but we'll definitely drop down to the 40s and 30s. We may even catch a snow here or there in Raleigh. I can almost guarantee that finding snow in Wilmington is going to be very rare. What I typically find between the two is that Wilmington is about 10 degrees hotter than it is in Raleigh. Now, in the summertime, that may not necessarily be true because they have, of course, the wind blowing off the beach, so that can cool you off just a little bit. But especially in the wintertime, I find that if Raleigh's gonna be in the 50s, generally speaking, Wilmington's probably gonna be in the 60s. They're a more coastal climate than Raleigh is. The one crazy thing about Raleigh's weather though is you just never know what you're gonna get, especially as the seasons transition. Sometimes you'll have a day where it's gonna be 70 degrees in January, and then the next day it's gonna be 30 degrees. And I'm not even joking when I say that. We have literally seen it be like 70 degrees one week, and then the next week they're calling for snow. So we do get all 4 seasons, and sometimes we even get all 4 seasons in 1 week in Raleigh. So again, it's kind of fun living here because you just never know what you're gonna get. The one guarantee is that July and August are gonna be painfully warm. All right. All right, so let's talk about housing and cost of living in Raleigh versus Wilmington. Overall, we're looking at about an 8% difference in it being cheaper to live in the Wilmington area than it is to live in the Raleigh area. So let's talk about some of the reasons why. One of the major differences though that I was surprised by is healthcare. Healthcare in Raleigh is actually over 20% more affordable in Raleigh than it is in Wilmington. Again, one of the biggest reasons why that we talked about previously is because Raleigh has so many good hospitals here. Duke, UNC, Rex, Wake Med, and Wilmington just does not have those. Maybe you need a specialist and you live in the Wilmington area, odds are that the doctors in Wilmington are gonna tell you that you have to drive to Raleigh to go to Duke or go to UNC Chapel Hill to see a doctor there. I was surprised by that number because that's a big difference. Transportation in Raleigh is a little bit more expensive. Again, we've got a little bit more traffic, a little bit further to drive around, so that's not too surprising. But the biggest difference and one of the biggest reasons why it's more expensive to live in Raleigh than it is to live in Wilmington is because of the median sales price. The median cost of a home in Raleigh is $427 compared to Wilmington at $372, a major difference of course, but there's a catch. So take all of this with a grain of salt, if you will. Yeah. So we pulled data from online looking at the differences in April of 2024, and I was surprised to learn that the median sales price in Raleigh for April 2024 was $425 versus Wilmington at $434. There's a lot of data that goes into that. We don't know exactly which areas they're pulling from, what they're calling Raleigh and what they're calling Wilmington necessarily. But one of the biggest differences and why I think this is the case is because Wilmington also includes Wrightsville Beach and some other high-end beach areas where you consistently can see $7, $8, $10, $12 million home sales. And we just don't see that on such a consistent basis here in the Raleigh area. We see a lot in the $2 to $3, maybe even $4 million range. But we don't see many sales above $7 to $12 million. It just doesn't happen as much as it does in the Wilmington area. So maybe that's what's causing that number to be higher for Wilmington. Generally speaking though, for those who are looking for an average sized home, an average price home, you're gonna be looking at a lower cost in Wilmington than you are in Raleigh. All right, so we hope this video has been helpful to you as you consider moving to the Raleigh area or to the Wilmington area and determining which one's gonna be the best fit for you. We are real estate agents in the Raleigh area, and we'd love to help you as you consider a move here. Find our info below and go ahead and reach out to us today if you're considering moving here in the next 9 to 90 days. We'd love to help you. If this info has been helpful, please go ahead and like and subscribe here. And if you're comparing Raleigh to Charlotte versus Wilmington, and maybe you're thinking about all three, watch our video of Raleigh versus Charlotte right here, and we'll talk to you soon.